This podcast features a lot of adult language.
Lemon face.
Motor boats are fun in the winter.
Slide face. Ah, break it down.
All right.
This is Podmaster Mike in the Orc-Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening. I've got three excellent DMs in the room with me tonight. I have James Houlihan.
Hey, how's it going?
You can find him on Twitter at Chainmail Ninja. We have Brett Rude.
Hello.
You can now find him on Twitter because he actually set one up.
I just set one up.
What is it? What'd you make it?
It's Ovalt the Great.
That's fantastic.
At Ovalt the Great. Fuck, Brett.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta use the
I
apps.
literally, 30 seconds ago.
Learn
signed
Twitter,
up
bro.
for this.
Learn Twitter. And we have John King.
So a hashtag it's like a pound sign.
No, we're not actually teaching them.
That's today's subject. We got right into it, so we're good to go.
And we also have John King with us.
Howdy.
And you can reach him on Twitter as well at Prester John Rex.
That's it.
And I'm Michael Goodman. You can reach me at Podmaster Mike, and you can also get our Twitter directly at Orc-Chop Express. You're listening to Per Diem Episode 7. We're going to be talking about starting a campaign, how to bring your party together, how to get things rolling, and we're also going to announce our Facebook winners of our NPC contest that we put out on Facebook, and we're also going to do our next alignment breakdown in the series we've been doing, and we'll roll for that, and we'll get the next alignment, and then we'll use the example character to debate whether their alignment is actually their alignment, because so far no one's alignment has been.
Yeah, the internet
Truly
alignment chart meme dudes have just been striking out left and right. So maybe we'll get a good one.
That's our opinion anyway. If you think we're wrong, you should debate it with us. We'd like to hear why, but we haven't found any that have matched at all.
You'd be wrong too. I'm just kidding. We welcome discourse. It's great.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump right into what we're excited about this week. James, what do you got going on?
Oh, well, as usual, I have a few I can't talk about yet because I always have, I got a lot of irons in the fire. But the ones I'm going to bring up, and I'm probably going to get laughed at by all the, all the hardcore 5th edition people because, I keep seeing all these people coming up with their homebrew stuff. And, like I mentioned, there was a guy a long time ago, it was about a year ago, that I found his Reddit post where he had, basically showed a manual of how to put together a, using Photoshop and a few other things, how to make a real official looking page layout, like WotC style for 5th edition. And I was like, man, a lot of people are doing this. I must be just having more trouble because, I can do it. It just takes a little time. I'm pretty well versed in Photoshop and stuff. But then I found this website through, someone linked their, because you can make a PDF of it, but I'm skipping ahead. So basically, there's a website called naturalcrit.com, and they have what's called the Home Brewery.
Oh.
And you basically go through, and it's in text format, and it converts it over, depending, they have their own tags you can add and everything, and text boxes, and like monster stat boxes, tables, and it just converts straight text into 5th edition style page layout. And it's
cool.
Fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
like
like
showing me on Saturday. It looked really cool.
Yeah, it's like
snap.
instant
Sounds
official
cool, yeah.
looking shit. So when I found that, I was super stoked. So I think I'll probably be using that in some, shape or form to do the new layout for our character profiles on the website, just because that's way easier and saves me a lot of time because I don't really have a lot of time to do that stuff. So I kind of wanted to just make a official PDF for all of our homebrew rules, and then there's a few things I have planned in the future that haven't been adapted to 5th edition yet, so that's a perfect tool to just go ahead and take what you've been working on, and rather than having it in like a Word doc or whatever, I mean, you can make a PDF on your own, but this is just, it's easy mode.
And what was the website again?
It is www.naturalcrit.com.
Natural.
And they apparently have another tool that they're working on. It's some sort of DM aid, but it says it's under construction. Which honestly, that's all they could ever do, and I would be super stoked and be happy with it. So
Sure.
this other thing I found is actually pretty cool. Not that the other one wasn't, but this is a YouTube user that I found his channel, and I've seen a few episodes because he does like real short, like 10 to 30-minute episodes, and they've been linked around on Reddit and Facebook and stuff. And I keep seeing him pop up, so I went and just checked it out, and it's a guy named Matthew Colville, and he's an independent author, and he's a longtime GM. He's been playing for like 30 years, and it definitely shows. He's like like Guy from Great GM. He's just super on point. He knows his shit, and what I really like is he expresses his point of view, and he says, "You may disagree, but this is my point of view, and this is what works for me." Or when he'll discuss something that never works, like "Don't do this; it never works," or at least it hasn't worked for me. You may disagree, but this is my experience, which is totally cool because you need that. It's a level of candor that I think a lot of YouTubers, especially, are worried about doing, just because you don't want to, drive away listeners.
Yeah,
But
I've noticed a lot of those videos. It's like this is the rule. This is how you should do it. And I'm like, not always. Like you should probably express that this has been my experience and this works really well.
Yeah, and I actually checked it out. He just recently did one, I think within the last few days, and it was an alignment discussion. So I was like, oh, let's check this out, and super informative. I totally recommend this guy's channel. And he's got a bunch of just general DMing things. And what's cool is he also uses examples straight out of the campaign that he's running. So, half of his episode might just be him recapping what happened in that adventure, but then, he kind of weaves it into an overall, moral
lesson learned.
Exactly. So, and he's just an entertaining dude. He's obviously got a bit of theatricality to it. So. Definitely worth checking out. That and that's just YouTube. You can just search Matthew Colville. I'm pretty sure that's his username on it, or M Colville. And so that's what I got. And hopefully the other stuff I can tell you about as it comes to fruition.
Yeah, you've got so much going on.
Fruit.
Actually, speaking of YouTube, it brings up the thing I was excited about this week. Did you guys see the article or maybe link, however you may have seen it today, for Dan Harmon's new D&D show?
Oh, yeah.
Harmon's
Yeah.
Quest?
That's hilarious.
It's really good.
So I watched it again. When you linked it again, I'm like, I'll watch
Okay.
it.
It's funny as fuck.
If I must.
I've been listening to him for a while on his podcast,
Oh, really?
Harmontown. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that. He's done some D&D
yeah.
stuff on there, too. And that's actually before we started doing all this. I was listening to that, but you guys should check that out. That was really cool. So Harmontown's his podcast. If you guys don't know who he is, our listeners, the easy way to identify him is he did writing for Community.
Oh,
so
okay. That makes
he was
so
the
you got
showrunner.
that D&D Community episode that everyone loves. I mean, he
That
wrote
makes sense,
he wrote
yeah.
that.
Yeah, he's the showrunner.
Yeah.
So he did like almost everything for most of the seasons.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. It looks good. It comes out July 14th, and it's going to be on CISO TV, which is another like content distributor, which is cool. It's only $4 though. It's like $3.99, and you get access to a ton of shit.
Yeah, you know what? For some cool, funny D&D, why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, $3.99 a month for no commercials and a D&D show. I would pay that.
Yeah.
So can you only watch it with the subscription, or is it just you don't get?
Well, I believe so. What he does for Harmontown actually, which is probably the similar model, is you can pay to get early access ad free, or you can just wait for it to come out a couple days later, and it will have like an ad break. So it'll probably be on YouTube with ads or something. I'm not sure. I can't officially say that. So
Yeah, because on the Reddit thing, a lot of people were like, "I'm not subscribing to this thing just for some D&D show." I'm like, God damn, man.
actually, it's really
Yeah,
cool
that's
if you check it out. It's like it's got tons of original content, but there's all sorts of shows and live comedy streams and all sorts of stuff that you get on that thing for $4, which is pretty
Honestly,
cool.
to me, it looked funny enough that I wouldn't mind. I mean, if it's $3 a month, I'd pay a month just to check it out and see if I like it.
Yeah.
And it's animated.
Yeah, I
was
mean,
like, oh, that's cool.
To me, it looked like Acquisitions Incorporated, but it's like if you liked the animation from that, it's it seemed like, at least the way
Yeah.
they sold it, was mostly that with
Yeah.
some of the tabletop stuff sprinkled in, which
And I don't know if it's more of a storytelling type of show because this was kind of a sneak peek clip trailer. I don't know if they're actually rolling. I think it might be more from a storytelling perspective, but
It's
it looks
rolling light.
yeah, the
It's
guy.
Amber.
it's Amber. Amber dice is rolling.
I think
Got Amber in this
I'm
episode.
giving them $5.
I actually checked out the Reddit thread where the guy linked it, and because the guy who linked it in there is like a longtime fan, and he said he's been listening for like 5 years or something, and apparently it's very rules light, even though I think it's either 3.5 or 4, 4th edition. But he said you'd have to go back really far if you wanted to kind of be caught up or pick up on the narrative. So for the most part, it sounds like it's just kind of one adventure to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something like they even might have like if you catch up on their current podcast, I think they're playing like Shadowrun right now because they don't want to compete with their D&D product, which is the show that's coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's already like 10 episodes, the whole season's done. So
Sure. Well, I'm excited for it. Looks
yeah,
good.
it looks fucking hilarious. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. What do you got going on, John?
Well, last Saturday was International Tabletop Day.
That it was.
Yeah.
We were
was.
tabletopping.
And we were tabletopping for sure. Tabletopping with a vengeance. And
Oh my goodness.
I went ahead and bought this through Nerd Block. And by the way, everybody listening to this, we're just talking about stuff we love. We're not getting sponsored by any of these people at all. So,
And if you're any of these people at all, feel free to sponsor us.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to buy some shit to make our podcast cooler, but we're not going to beg.
So,
If you have money laying around, just give it to us.
so how'd I put it? Yeah, I'll take your money.
I also choose to put this part of the episode before the topics listed in the YouTube description.
So anyway, I went ahead and picked up Geek and Sundry's Nerd Block for International Tabletop Day.
Nice.
And I thought I'd open it real quick with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
awesome.
So is that just like a
It's like a
gift
one-
pack kind of thing?
Yeah, it's kind of like a loot crate,
Okay, yeah.
right? But this one is specifically built for tabletop. Thank you, because I was going to use a doorstop to open it.
Oh,
not a
that's what I
doorstop
was going to
So-
bring up.
Yeah,
That's
so you
that.
guys are aware I handed him a pocket knife. I open
that's
boxes all the
kill
time.
ants.
It's like my lifesaver.
No, that you used to kill ants, not a doorstop.
Oh, no, it is.
Just so you know.
So anyway, let's open this up.
Well, we got a t-shirt.
Got a T-shirt that I probably won't wear.
Yeah, every time I've gotten a free t-shirt, it's like a medium.
Huh.
You have to hold it up. I played more games International Tabletop Day since 2012, and then it's got the year 2016 on the bottom.
Yeah, it's like a beer label kind of thing.
Okay, I'll take it.
Look at that. BDD.
I have pencils from Felicia Day.
Oh.
Ooh, I like
Embrace-
her.
Embrace your weird.
And
I'm
those
sure.
are
That didn't
pencils?
sound creepy at all.
Hello there. Hey
I
now.
like.
No, I do like
her.
Felicia Day. Can I see these pencils? I mean,
I don't
oh,
think she made
they
them.
just say Felicia Day. They don't have like they don't even have a picture of her pretty face on
I
there.
think she whittled them herself.
Embrace your weird.
Whittled them with a pocket knife similar to your own.
Apparently, I got Will Wheaton's D6.
Oh no! Don't touch it.
Yeah,
Stay
no,
away from-
seriously.
Wait, is it all ones?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We spared no expense so you can experience rolling dice the Wheaton way.
Nice.
TM for yourself. So you trademarked that.
That's funny.
Let's see. I got a No Survivors notebook.
Look at that.
Yeah.
No
all right.
survivors.
Yeah, we'll see if this is.
That'll be the next game.
Yeah. I have tabletop playing cards. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
this
we're
is-
really plugged by
Got the
that.
Savage Worlds. Isn't that-
No, it's a dice bag of holding.
It would have been cooler if it was an eye patch.
No. Maybe coins to add to the collection. Yeah, they're.
Oh shit, we got more coins?
Do they like say Geek and Sundry on them?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we can't use those.
Yeah, I can't roleplay with that.
Yeah.
But
That'll break me right out of character.
Oh shit! Here, barbarian.
Ooh.
I'm a
What?
wizard. I'm a wizard. But I'm also part
Okay, what's
Is there
our
a
Sorry, dude,
Is
no
there-
cleric.
Is there a cleric?
There's a warrior, a rogue, or a wizard.
I'll take warrior since I'm multi-class
That's
fighter.
that's kind of
Oh, look at that.
And I'll keep rogue wizard
Kinda.
because that's what trainer is.
nice.
All right, I have a class
Okay,
point.
yeah, we can't use this as currency, but I mean, I can get behind it as a token.
Yeah, I can make a medallion out of it. Cool.
It's got,
Thank you.
Oh,
Whoa.
I see something with the words Magic the Gathering. in
You
there.
do. I'm leaving that for last. It's big. A Dungeons and Dragons comic book.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's the.
Oh, is that the one that Tess Fowler did the cover of?
Yeah.
That's Tess Fowler's.
Yeah, it is. It's the
Okay.
That's the
Roll.
Critical Role one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I see that?
Yeah, of course.
It's pretty cool.
And then
At Tess Fowler, check her out. Her art is awesome. We talk to her sometimes on Twitter. She's cool.
a Geek and
Yeah, this is
Sundry
really neat.
bumper sticker.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Nice.
And one of my favorite planeswalkers, a Liliana.
Oh, if I didn't already
Whoa.
have her.
Oh, nice. The figure.
Yeah,
Did I
the
tell you
action
about
figure.
my wedding cake topper?
Oh, we should put some of those.
What?
We got a wedding cake topper for the wedding cake, and it's the same scale, same size. And I happened to put Liliana next to it. It looked like Liliana was jealous. Like, sitting there like,
I'm going to tweet this to Tess right now.
Yeah, so that's what I got.
Live tweets. My goodness.
No.
Tabletop.
Podmaster Mike.
Mike.
wait, how does that work?
So what he does is he goes and he opens the app labeled Twitter, and then
This
he
is how this shit
clicks
works.
on the little
Slider?
square. Yeah, the little square in the
Give me a
corner
thumbs
with
up, John.
with like a little thing on it.
So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Dude, I'm glad you
Yeah.
did that. That was really cool. I've been thinking we should do some stuff like that once in a while.
Well, I get nerd block all the time anyway for work, and I saw that they had this one international tabletop. We do this, so it was easy.
Very cool.
to piece everything together. So that's what I was excited about. Open it with you guys, and there you go.
No, that was
Awesome.
really fun.
Yeah,
Thanks for
cool.
doing that.
Thanks for all the goodies.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even though I'm only one level bard,
What
but
do you mean? I guess that's
everyone thinks I'm a bard, so.
my character's 50%
Bididoo,
fighter. Of course, it counts. God.
It counts, and I mean, you get 50% of the coin.
Well, if they had
Give
a
me the
50
coin back.
No,
Okay.
if they had a 50% cleric, 50% fighter coin, I would take that too.
50% fighter coin.
Brett, what do you got going on? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about the post that we put up the other day on Facebook with the NPCs.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
1,000 Facebook likes
Yeah.
celebration.
Thank you all.
So
Yes,
Yeah.
Congratulations
Yeah.
to us! Yay!
Yeah. So that's
Hooray!
ultimately
We are
what it
so
stems
awesome.
from.
We are now a really tiny piece of the internet.
Yeah, 1,000 likes.
No,
but
but
that's
seriously.
that's a
No, it's
landmark
really cool,
moment.
yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, we hadn't really planned on getting that many to begin with, so that's
Yeah.
awesome. We were just like, let's do a podcast and for fun, and so yeah, that's
Yes.
cool. It's getting
Yeah, it's
bigger.
fun.
Yeah, thank you all out there for listening.
Yes,
And
thank
liking
you.
us.
Putting up with us.
So
Yeah.
Oh, putting up with James.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
we're all perfect. The
Mary Poppins, baby. Mary Poppins.
but yeah, what I'm excited about is I ran a game last week and I got to exercise a very creative side of myself that you guys are just going to have to listen to, and that's going to be continuing this upcoming week. But then we thought of this fun little contest for those of you that haven't seen this, to have people write in their characters that they're playing in their D&D games, and we as DMs will work. We'll randomly choose one, and we'll work that character in as an NPC into Sea of Mists. And we got a whole bunch of really cool responses.
Yeah, there was like what 30 responses or something.
Something like that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We also got a few from some friends of ours that were just irreverent and silly. So thank you, Steve and River, for adding a little bit of silliness in there.
Although, I thought those were serious.
Well, coming from them, maybe they were, but
You know, coming from Steve, that
yeah,
was.
yeah. I was like, grab
I
this
worked
spray
really
bottle.
hard on that.
Yeah.
Actually, it looked like they did. They had like portraits and everything.
Oh yeah, they had the whole night.
That's what he does.
You know, and maybe we'll do some like episode where you all like drink the Kool-Aid and
Yeah.
are like hallucinating about Lord Gizzard, the lizard wizard, with his color spray, and Elena Blishnagul or whatever.
Yep. Seal.
Don't eat the Underdark mushrooms.
Yeah. So I'm excited because we read over all these submissions, and there are a lot of good ones, and we're having a hard time choosing. So, so I think we're gonna amend the contest a little bit. We might have a few winners, as it were, rather than just a single one. So
Yeah,
and-
there was too many great submissions, so we decided we can't do just one. Like,
Yeah.
we got to do more than that. So
so I think
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
do five, right?
It was a
Yeah.
waste of NPCs, is what it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
a lot of
So
good
thank
ones
you
there.
guys for supplying us with narrative.
Yeah,
But it was
Now we
neat
can be
'cause
lazy.
reading it, I could, for almost every one of them, think of how I could work it into the game. Like I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I could picture this guy, doing this, or I could picture them finding this person there, or
Well,
doing
like,
stuff.
in our chat, on Facebook, we were just like, hey, what are your favorite 5?
Yeah.
And I'm going through, and I mean, some of mine probably didn't make a ton of sense if you were going to just say, oh, that's not what James would normally pick.
Yeah.
But in the context of what I have planned for the campaign and everything, I was like, oh, that would be fucking perfect. So there were a bunch of those. So that was really cool to see.
Well, so we printed out a list of the characters that everyone submitted, and we decided we said we're gonna do it randomly, so we're gonna do it randomly, and John is gonna roll off. We're just gonna roll, and we're gonna get 5, and we're gonna let you guys know who it is, but you're gonna have to listen to future episodes to see when you pop up. So it's gonna be fun. You wanna roll off the first NPC, John?
Sure. All right, let's go for number 1.
Wait, can we all roll one and then you
Sure,
roll
sure.
2? Yeah, I want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
cool.
Well, let's start with you. We'll go all the way around, and then you'll finish it off.
All right. So number 6 is Dusha.
Oh,
Dusha.
Dusha. That was the
Dusha.
gnome barbarian, right?
The Gnombarian.
The Gnome
Awesome.
Barbarian.
All right.
Hold on, let me look up the description real quick. Sorry, we just have a printout. Here we go.
Is that the one that's like Harry Potter without the glasses?
Yes. So, Dusha, the gnome barbarian. Generally overly nice, but rages when hurt. Looks like a tiny glasses-free Harry Potter. And that's the description. So it leaves it kind of open for interpretations. Oh, and keep in mind, anyone who has submitted your character, it's going to be up to our interpretation. So if we don't have the right accent or they're not acting exactly as you do, I'm sorry, we don't know that. So we're just
Or if
going
you
by
hear-
how we want to do it.
If you hear yourself announced, get at us and shoot us a tweet or Facebook us and be
Yeah.
like, hey, my character, if you want to throw out a couple more details.
Yeah.
And, hopefully we'll remember.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna do the next one here.
All right.
That's gonna be a 15.
Rexius or Rexus.
Oh, is that the other gnome barbarian?
Wait, we have 2
Yeah, we have
Gnombarians?
two
Oh
gnome
man,
barbarians.
it's gonna have to be a double encounter, like
Yeah.
they're brothers.
I
or
think they're
something.
going to be related.
You stumble upon 2 gnome barbarians surrounded by a pile of orc bodies shaped in a circle. Back to back.
Rexus, gnome barbarian, who is an alcoholic and has an obsession with destroying kneecaps. Yeah, we have 2 gnome barbarians. Who would have known?
Only one of them's an alcoholic, though.
Yeah, and then not to mention we have Ovalt and and another friend.
All right. You guys ready?
I'm
I'm
ready,
ready.
for it.
Yeah, do it.
14.
Gideon Silverfoot.
Oh, a halfling. We're going with all the
Jesus Christ.
all the short folk here. All right, Gideon Silverfoot, halfling rogue fighter. Can't stand bullies, helps those who can't help themselves, puts friends and loved ones first, can't walk away from a drinking challenge.
Oh,
We got alcoholics, drinkers, and a lot of short folk. Barfing Bugbear is going to have some
Yeah, we're going to have to get smaller
interesting
stools.
clientele. Yeah, old children's
little
stools.
side door.
Yeah, what if we have a little gnome section that's like a miniature building?
It's just a smaller version of the.
That would be awesome.
The barfing
you
kobold.
can't- Yeah, you have to, if you
It's
can't go in, it's like no humans allowed.
No, it's like My First Bar. Like those little play sets you get. At the store.
You start cranking the oven and like Play-Doh comes out.
Ooh, let's extrude it.
All right, so here's mine. I got 10. Which one is 10?
Archileno Corelli? Archangelo Corelli.
Archangel, yeah.
Archangel Corelli. Yeah.
Archangel. Oh. I'm gonna say it's pronounced Arcangelo Corelli.
Works
Elf
for me.
Bard. Has a tendency to be helpful to a fault, unless he believes a plan to be stupid. He has a low tolerance for stupidity.
I see a bard rivalry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that.
What's Ovalt's intelligence?
Oh, very high.
Oh, but he doesn't sell it.
wizard.
He doesn't let on. Though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's a wizard. But he's also a bard.
He might
He's an
rub
illusionist.
Archangelo the wrong way.
Well, we'll see.
Boo doo doo.
It's more like an elfie.
Doo-doo.
I would imagine it'd be a lighter, elfier.
All right, you want to do?
Yeah, it's your turn.
All right,
Yeah, you
ready?
go. Mhm.
Last one. Arnalia Trevathor.
Oh, that's the
Oh.
one that Tiffany liked.
Yeah, yeah. So this one's interesting. Ernalia Trevathor. a tiefling female rogue, distrusting, forgetful, and very, very fond of snails. Now, what's funny is those that may not have seen these comments, Trevathor is actually the same last name that Tiffany has for her tiefling warlock character, Zakaria Trevathor. So the second she saw that, she was commenting like, "Oh my gosh, you have the same last name." So that creates for an interesting tie-in.
Now,
Well,
maybe we should
yeah.
get some elaboration. Like, does she really like escargot, or are these like pet snails?
I don't know, but I'll put it this way: Zakaria is very fond of her octopus, and she's not going to eat it. So maybe
You don't know that.
Ernalia is very fond of snails and not going to eat it. It's going to be like a scene from that.
Well, we'll put out a general
delicatessen.
thank you for everyone, but we can also specifically message each one of them, and
We could announce the winners and tag them in it.
yeah, and I can ask them for some more details if they want to give it to us. If not, we'll it'll be left up to our interpretation.
Yeah,
But,
and
That kinda
Dylan
goes without saying.
Dylan McGuffey, if we don't hear from you, Ernalia is going to have pet snails crawling all
Gross,
over her.
man. Oh.
So that's the
well,
the power is
congratulations
yours.
to the NPC winners.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Yay.
super awesome
Yeah, I'm pretty excited
to
about
run
that.
into them in the game and stuff. So that'll be good.
I'll put all those characters in one part all at once. It's going to be madness.
They just all run past.
Well, that was a good excited about this week. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on, and that was fun.
I like having kind of those challenges of I have a plan for the game this weekend.
Yeah.
But doing something like that, like, okay, now I have to work something in. And they say that artists work really well when you give them constraints. If
Sure.
you give an artist total free realm, they have a hard time focusing. But if you give them some constraints, they can focus. So that's my constraint. I have to work one of these characters in.
Yeah. Well, all the fun aside, let's jump into our first topic of the night. And James, I'm actually going to let you kind of run this one. I know that you found a lot of Reddit questions recently, and we also had some YouTube comments come in that kind of sparked this topic. So why don't you let everyone know what the topic is and kind of get us rolling?
Okay, yeah. So, like Mike said, I've seen this a bunch recently, and I mean, even just within the past couple of days, I've seen multiple threads about it on Reddit. We actually got a commenter asking in the YouTube comment, for advice on this exact thing, and we touched on it a little bit with our Adventure Zero thing. I think it was something that Brett said in our very first episode of Per DM, where you suggested, rather than doing a conventional, hey everybody, you meet in a bar and go, you could do the something like an Adventure Zero where you do solo adventures for each character. And I know, having been through some of those myself with you as the DM, I know what you do is you make up a custom adventure for that player based on their background.
Yeah.
Now, that's not within the scope of every DM skill set, especially for starting out DMs. And I can go into some more specifics on this question, but basically the subject that we're looking at tonight is, how do you start off your campaign in a cool way because it's, that's pretty much the gist of it. How do you start off your campaign in a cool way? There's more to it, which, this, just as far as the different elements you bring in and how do you make it as memorable as possible. But it sounds simple, but how do you start your campaign is a pretty complex issue. You've got, depending on how you've set up your characters and told them, sometimes, I think experienced DMs will give the characters like, hey, we're starting in this area, and lay out some guidelines like no evil characters. This is an area where there aren't many, half orcs or elves. So if you make one of those characters, just know that you're going to be sticking out like a sore thumb. Stuff like that.
Yeah. If your contingency or not, your limits.
Yeah. So it just gives the players an idea of what to expect and what kind of characters to make. So, then if someone shows up and they're like, "Mwahaha, I'm a chaotic evil warlock," you're like, "What the fuck, dude?" And if they really persist, then you can do that. But then they at least know, hey, you're way outside the scope of what we were talking about, so there's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah.
So, I could see novice DMs might not have that kind of foresight or just might not know that that's something they can do. So, if you just say, "Hey guys, we're playing D&D. Bring characters on Friday, and we'll go. Friday at 6:00, and we're going to go." That's a tough situation because now you're stuck. If you're not running a module, and even if you are, you need a background for why to bring them in. So, and I think we probably all have our own favorite ways. So,
I mean, when you bring this up, there's literally millions of ways that you could start a campaign. But I think the ways I like to do it. So if I don't have the time, energy, or ability to do the Adventure Zero kind of solo games, because obviously that takes a lot of time. So if you don't have the time for that, I like putting in the Adventure Zero game for the characters to get them all in one place at one time before things really get started. It may not be as exciting or crazy as the main campaign, but it just gets them into that bar, right? Or into that spot where the campaign's going to start. But ultimately, what that and your first real game, I think, should have is a common enemy or common goal and a way that they all know each other in some way, shape, or form. And I'll touch mostly on that last part of the way they know each other. I mean, you could do a game where none of them know each other. They're all thrown into a room and they've just got to deal with it. But players in general like to be distrustful, like to kind of play at conflict. And I've seen things go south pretty quick.
Well, it's also tough when, every player, I think, sees themselves as the main character. Everyone's the Wolverine. Everyone is, their John Wick or whoever their badass ideal character is. So it's tough if you're just, okay, you all meet in a bar and then you describe each other and then there's a mysterious bearded stranger in a cloak in the shadowed corner.
And go.
Yeah, I mean, we always joke about the old Dragon magazine, I think, had a comic panel where they walk into a bar and see the guy in the corner and just sit next to him and go, "All right, what's the mission, bub?" And it's such a trope that I think actually the guy from Great GM calls it the awkward tavern.
The awkward tavern. Yeah,
and it's totally true. It's but it can be done. But I think there's a lot of ways you can work around it, but I think first let's tackle how would you do it without a common NPC. Like, for our campaign that we started, Sea of Mist was easy because we just, we softballed it in. We went and just said, okay, let's play Lost Mine of Phandelver. It states in this scenario, everybody has the common friend of the Rockseeker brothers. You've been hired. And we just kind of underhanded it, and everyone went along with that. That's fine. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I think let's tackle it with, okay, you've got a campaign, none of the characters know each other. How are you going to do it? Like, what's your favorite way?
Just really quick, I don't know if it's my favorite way because the campaign didn't really take off with it. We only played 1 or 2 games, but I did a pirate game where everyone started in prison. You're all in prison, and you're all in separate prison cells. And the port that you're in was attacked by, God, quite frankly, I don't remember who.
That's so funny.
And so, why was that?
No. You'll see later. Don't worry.
So, and so you all had to try to escape during this attack, knowing that if you were captured, you would be hung because you're a pirate or whatever. That you wouldn't be able to sail the ship that it's kind of like there's a ship over there. It's a good one. You should go for that. You wouldn't be able to sail the ship without a full crew. So
I love that. Yeah.
So you keep each other alive.
You're creating a situation where a group is 100% necessary.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, "Fuck you guys, I'm out."
Yeah, exactly. And I had it in my. Everyone ended up working together because I think humans as a species in general, want to work together. So you give them a reason to, and they will. But I had ideas in my head. If someone's like, "Well, screw you guys, I'm out of here," I'd be like, "Okay, you're captured by the guards." Like you're surrounded by a bunch of guards, and you have to fight them, and then they get captured and get hung. And I'm like, "Too bad." The rest of the guys go on.
At least it's just the first adventure.
Yeah, first adventure. You're really low level. Just and then you get on the ship, and hey, there's another guy on the ship who stowed away, and that's your new character.
It's just like that guy that got killed. That's weird.
Hey, what do you know? And on that same subject, I had thought of having them all in neck chains connected by chains.
Oh, that would be so
they
cool.
couldn't even leave each other's proximity.
Yeah, you have to
they
stay
had
within
to work
5 feet.
together. And if one of them died, they would have to drag that guy. So it's like stay alive and
That is such a cool idea. I really like that.
So that was a fun one. I've been meaning to kind of redo that at some point, but yeah.
Yeah, my approach is a little different because a lot of times I find I can't get everybody to do like individual, Adventure Zero.
Yeah.
To kind of get them into the world and stuff like that. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do the year before. So I'll do how they all first met, but I'll take it like at the anniversary, like they got together.
Gotcha.
So they are a group, but then I stitch them all together through that first mission. So what they play through is the first mission on how they met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but then it's like, but they were already together, so it's kind of like, you're going to end up as a group, so you're not going to be killing anybody at this point because you are all together at this point. And I just kind of like playing it backwards because then it's a good point to be like, okay, now start the real campaign or start off with everything.
Isn't that how you started the superhero one?
That's exactly how I started the superhero one. Just because I felt that was just a niftier way to do it. You're all sitting celebrating the anniversary, year anniversary of like grouping up together and stuff like that. And it's just a different approach. Because I do like the like Zero games or like the start of them that maybe have nothing to do with what your main campaign is, but at least it gets everybody there. I think it's a really smart play, especially if you're not doing module or anything that's kind of dictated.
Yeah.
Like if you're kind of coming up with your own story, it's a great way to get you invested in the world, creating stuff early, and then help you build that out through the whole campaign.
Yeah, it's funny because I 100% agree with the common enemy, common problem situation. I love the Skyrim style or the Elder Scrolls in general. You start as a prisoner, but it doesn't have to be a jail.
That was a bit influenced.
Hey, it's actually. I mean, I'm sure it predates Elder Scrolls in the use in D&D, but that's just one example of you've got a big problem. You're stuck in it with other people, and that can be you wake up and the tavern you're in, the bottom floor is on fire, and you got to get out, and the only other guests are these adventurers. What do you do? That sort of a thing. Instantly, and I will begin by it can be seen as a little heavy-handed because it's, at its core, it's a little railroady, right? Like you're not really giving it, but then they also have tons of options. You're not forcing them to handle that fire a certain way. If if the mage can cast, Frosty McFrosterson spell and put the fire out.
Great spell, by the way.
Yeah,
that's like that's
exactly.
Pretty good.
But I think also it helps because you could do it in a more low key way, but I really, personally like starting it off with a bang. Like if you go, and a good thing is, when in doubt, look at how your favorite movies start, right? Star Wars, it's like a ship battle and they're getting boarded and it's super exciting. Like Vikings, John, you just started watching that. Mm-hmm. The first fucking scene, it's Rollo and Ragnar just like wrecking people and he's throwing javelins at dudes. And doesn't tell you a whole lot about those characters, but it establishes what's going on. Like these dudes are crazy Viking guys, they're fighting other people and their friends. Well, he calls them brother or something. So instantly you got the basics down. And I think you want that drama and you're going to get players interested too, because that's also a little bit of a Pavlovian thing, right? Like if you start the game and it's roll initiative, right? The players are kind of conditioned. Okay, cool. We're going to fight. Let's, we're working together. Like it's kind of a conditioned response. So in a way, you've almost tricked the players into going to the business as usual, working together. And then once that happens, then they can kind of work on the, even if you've got like an evil character and a good character, they can still get along. There's plenty of examples with that, and that's a whole nother situation. But I think the action up front is. It's funny because that's kind of I think what all three of us would go to, but I think it's the best way to do it.
Well, it's a real quick way to get things started, get people rolling dice, and they get invested. When I just did the past game with my wife and them.
Yeah, how'd you start that? By the way?
So I started it that they were all in the mansion of Lord Flackerton's estate, waiting for him. That they've been summoned to be escorts. So I
It's like a work thing. Yeah.
exactly. So I asked them. I was like, okay, who wants to know each other? So pretty much, I figured Rob, Ryan, and Michael would want to know each other, and I just assumed that Tanya and her cousin would want to know each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so you are 2, and then you are 3, and we'll put you all in the estate together and see how that intermixes. And I knew one of them would want to bridge the gap.
Right.
And I didn't believe it'd be Michael, but it turned out to be Michael was trying to introduce himself and talk to them and stuff like that. So so as they progressed through the night, like as they progressed through the convoy, like each night I would stop and be like, is there anything you want to do before we move on? And then that's when they would start talking to each other and start doing stuff. And then each night that camaraderie built over and over. So they were like, okay, we get it. We're on a group. Yeah. And because I put some crazy NPCs in there that they were like, oh man, these guys are nuts. Like, I don't know if I want to hang out with them at all. Like Thomas and Neville. I think that was their names. Thomas ended up with an arrow in his eye. That's cool.
Oh.
Well, that's perfect. He gets an eye patch now.
Exactly.
Is that the one that could actually speak English? Or
Eye patches are awesome.
He's on and he'd be like, and then Neville would come in and be like, yeah, I do like raspberry jam.
Oh, God.
So he was, anyway, but that's how I got them started. It was simple enough because I didn't want to be like, here's all 5 of you, put you all together.
Yeah,
At least I had 2 groups that I could turn into one.
That brings up a really good point, that character background's huge when you're starting a campaign. If you can get your players to work on their character backgrounds ahead of time, and that's, I think, a big secret to I know I use, that experienced DMs the world over, I imagine, use, which is if you let the character or the players make their awesome backgrounds and give them to you, awesome. Now you've got all these adventure hooks because what they've given you is the adventure they want to continue.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Then if you've got one that's an awesome character background, likely if the player's excited about it, they're going to talk about it. And then another player might, just glom onto that and they're together. I've seen that happen plenty of times. But I think also the Adventure Zero, which is, Brett, was your original suggestion, I think is pretty huge. Simply because you can take something like what we did, which like I said, I referred to it as softballing it in, which is just saying, okay, well, we all got hired and you know each other. And then if you do an Adventure Zero, you can actually make an adventure out of those. Like John, what you were saying when you did yours, you do a year prior, and you actually make an experience out of meeting those other players. So when you meet them in the later game, it's not kind of hokey where we were willing to let it slide and just suspend disbelief, but it's a lot more compelling than like, okay, you guys know each other, let's go. Because you've had this adventure and this experience, and you remember, oh yeah, I remember when we had to fight that captain of the guards that was trying to throw us in jail or whatever it was. So I think that's probably the route that if you can take the time to do it, is the best way.
Yeah. I think it's important to tie the characters in together, even if it's another. I mean, again, this takes some advanced work and knowing backgrounds and whatnot. But let's take the 4 of us sitting at this table, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say Ovalt knows Svanya, so we have a connection. Yeah. But Ovalt doesn't know Traynor, but Svanya knows Traynor. Mm-hmm. So because I know you, and Svanya will vouch for Traynor, I already have built some trust. And then maybe Traynor knows Rannon. So it builds a link between everybody. It just establishes even just a little bit of trust between them. I think that helps quite a bit. Yeah,
and having some distance also makes the role play fun, right? Because if we say we're going to go out to like a concert, and John's bringing some dude I've never met, like I still have to decide if I like that
Carl.
Guy. Yeah, I don't know Carl. He could be a douchebag.
Oh, dude, Carl's so cool.
And then Mike's over there going to bring Nico, and
Yeah.
Whoa.
yeah.
Whoa.
Hold
And
on.
I've never
Phone,
met this
phone.
dude, but I've heard nothing but bad things. So it's like, So yeah, I mean, it lets you have that distance that you would have anyway in a group where you're just, all right, you meet in the bar.
I just want to throw it out there, Nico. We can still go to that concert. It's okay.
Saying, "Oh, you guys all know each other from the past," is a bit heavy-handed and kind of throwing him into that.
It is, and it's just, it may not be the most compelling and memorable experience for your players. Like if you're really like, okay, let's get this campaign going. I really want this to be a memorable thing from the jump to start to finish. You can see, like, I don't regret how we started Sea of Mists, but I don't doubt that, and it was good for where we were because we were coming back to D&D after so long. But, I don't regret having done that. But at the same time, I don't doubt for a second I could have done it way cooler.
Yeah,
We were just like, let's play some fucking D&D.
Well,
Let's
you
go.
gotta be given the circumstance, right? It's kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
In that instance, you guys did what you had to do, and it was easy enough to jump right into it. But if you're creating a campaign, you're taking the time to sit there and say, what story do I want to tell? Who do I want to involve? And what's the end game of it? Is it like, do I run the campaign and then that's it? That's these character stories, or is it going to be campaigns? Kind of like how are you picturing that stuff?
yeah, and I think the other thing is to keep in mind that the players should understand that maybe you don't have the time or energy to spend weaving everyone together once you start. Like, I think it's okay for most campaigns to set up a plausible, believable way that you all know each other just to get things started. Because otherwise, then you're going to be spending the first adventure to just getting everyone to know each other. Whereas you may be wanting to get into a more interesting narrative.
Yeah, you want to jump into your plot.
Yeah, so, don't, I would say don't, rack your brain or lose some sleep over that. If you feel that the best way for this campaign is to say that they've all worked together previously and they're working together again, then, that's okay. Sure, there may be better ways to do it, but, don't let that stop you. Just get playing and then establish some trust, and then you can get into the meat of this story.
Can I pitch an idea?
Sure.
As actually, so someone who hasn't DM'd yet, right? I've never done it, and this question seems to be coming from a lot of people who have not DM'd. It's their first time doing it, and I'm listening to you guys, and I'm trying to think. Okay, I hear make it dramatic, make them somehow bond with each other and start to trust each other. What would you think is like a plot of everyone happens to be in the same town that suddenly comes under attack, and the sheriff or who? Not the sheriff. It's fucking D&D.
It could be a sheriff.
Oh,
Sure.
there's a
Okay.
sheriff,
Fine.
suggestion.
Sheriff.
Not
The
a
guy
bad.
in the town is like, we don't have the resources to help. If anyone will help us, we'll pay them in full and do all this stuff. And all of a sudden, now you have this party of 4, let's say we'll all do it. They now jump into a battle together, fight with one another. The battle ends. They now know each other, trust each other. How do you think that would
You
work?
could completely do the Magnificent Seven.
Oh,
I don't even know what that is. I'm
That's
so
a
sorry.
movie. I mean,
Seven
my-
Is that the
Samurai?
Seven Samurai? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here
A
you don't
Bug's
even-
Life?
I would go so
It is.
I would go so far as to say you're almost overthinking it. You don't need to have the sheriff say jack shit. Have the sheriff get stabbed by a fucking orc.
Yeah, right. in front of
And
him.
In the middle of the speech.
Yeah, and then some old lady's like, "Oh no!" and then she gets stabbed. And then
I guess I'm just thinking of horror stories of like these comments that we've read of other people and be like, 3 of the 4 would be like, yeah, let's go, and one's like, nah. Like, I don't want to.
my point is, when the town's surrounded by orcs and they're running around haphazardly stabbing people, you got to do something. So,
Sure.
and again, that also, it's that Pavlovian thing where roll initiative. What do? They're gonna probably start working together. They might, it very much depends on the player alignment. That would work way better, I think, if you're okay, guys, good, maybe neutral only. But if you have like Mr. neutral evil lurking around in the corner. He's gonna be like, yes, you know, biding his time until like the fighter's down on hit points before he jacks him
Okay,
and
this
takes his
campaign's
armor.
done. Let's roll new character
Yeah.
sheets.
But yeah, I think that's a good example.
Yeah, I mean, but with what you just mentioned, perfectly acceptable way of getting people together. Because to kind of touch back on what Brett said, though you can make a really awesome experience for your players and try to stitch them together, sometimes you don't have time to do that. And it's acceptable to forego that just to tell the story you want to tell, be it, again, a module or something that you created. So you have to remember the one thing that we haven't really touched on a whole hell of a lot yet, and because it's a bigger conversation. Campaign starting's like role-playing 101. There's a lot of different things. But you have the story to tell, one way or the other. And that's...
that's a very
that's
good point,
key.
because we've only touched on one aspect of starting the campaign, which is how do you get the characters to not kill each other and run in different directions? What we you're right, we haven't even touched on story.
Which is... It's a... Yeah, I
Well,
know.
I'll tell you what. I want to make that its own episode.
Okay.
Sure.
And
Well,
I've actually got someone that would be great to join us. I reached out to Richard Baker, one of the writers of Lost Mine of Phandelver.
Awesome.
And he has agreed to come on and Skype with us. And I asked him what kind of topics he might want to talk about. I just suggested a couple, maybe, how to write campaigns, good story. And he said, well, I certainly know a lot about that. So maybe next week, maybe the following week, we can schedule it with them and do it. But
maybe we should reach out to our audience to see what questions they'd want answered.
Yeah,
But
that'd be great.
It's funny because I was about to bring that up earlier too. One of the things that made it so welcoming to just jump straight into Lost Mine of Phandelver is that, like I said, I was coming in after having not DM'd for a long time, and it's a great module in that it really kind of holds your hand from the beginning, and that's why I think it's perfect as a starter set and for new DMs, because it really kind of walks you through those first couple things, and then you get, you have the ambush.
Has a lot of detail on how to roleplay characters that die.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, but it was really good. So that's actually, I'm super stoked to hear that. But before we wrap up this segment, if it's cool,
let's
a quick
certainly keep going. I wanted to make sure I threw that out there for you guys, so and let's not actually spend time on it now. I would certainly like to include him in that conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
well, then
fair
let's.
enough.
What I think we'll do, rather than just going over the theory and everything behind it, is we're going to help out one of our homies
Oh,
who responded to our very first podcast, and it was prompted by what Brett suggested with Adventure Zero.
First per diem or first campaign game?
Per diem.
per diem, yeah.
Okay.
So Daniel Brooks writes, do you have any suggestions for some good zero-level modules for individual character backgrounds? And he suggests N4 Treasure Hunt for 2nd edition looked promising, but I'm looking for something like what you said, where the PCs aren't together and then get brought together at the beginning of the campaign. So what I thought would be cool...
Was N4 not 4? Is that what that means?
Number 4. They used to number the modules, so it'd be like module N4 is this one.
Called Treasure Hunt.
And it's called Treasure Hunt. Yeah. So I'm going to read the synopsis for this adventure because initially I was not, I don't want to say it was daunting, but I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do some research and look at modules, because he's specifically asking for modules, which is understandable, because if you're a new DM or just it's your style. I mean, that's my style. I like to take a module and just kind of hammer it until it fits what I'm doing. But it sounds like he just wants to run something right out of the box, which I think we're going to do a crash course in modifying modules, which is my personal favorite. So, because I read through this module that he suggested, and I think it's fucking rad. So it's called Treasure Hunt, and I'm just going to go through the basic plot, which is the players start, much like Brett would have suggested, as prisoners on a pirate ship. Right? So
That's awesome.
You're manacled, and now keep in mind this is designed for a party, so that's part of what we'll be modifying and brainstorming to modify. So the background is you're on the pirate ship. A sudden storm at sea catches the ship, sending it off course, washing most of the crew overboard, and eventually crashing it upon the shores or on some on the coral reef of this island that they've created for the module where it takes place. Characters have the opportunity to escape or defeat the surviving pirates. Once they've escaped, they realize that they've landed on an island where there's enemy seagoing tribes of orcs and goblins having a big war, and they're fighting. And then mid-adventure, they find out that the goddess of the island is furious for the desecration of her island and is going to just wipe the slate clean and fuck everything up. So you got to get out while you can. So that's basically the gist of the adventure.
Dang. All right, they got a lot going on.
Yeah, so
Well, when you break it down, it's you got the pirate ship. You start there, right?
Yeah.
Crash, wake up on the island. So, what I personally, I've had a little bit more time to think about this. So this is what I'm going to suggest. I haven't thought the end parts through, bringing everything back together, but I'm sure it can be done pretty gracefully. So, my suggestion would be to just take this same module and run it for each player separately. Because if you take the same module and switch around some of the bad guys in the story, between your changes and the different ways players will react, you're going to get 4 or 5 or however many players you have different games regardless. So what I would do is I would take the first player who's got the most generic background, and this is another one. Get your characters, like we said, get your players to write up a background because that's going to help you modify these things. So take the player that just, maybe isn't the biggest role player in the world, hasn't, when you ask him what his background is, I don't know, he's a fighter dude or he's a wizard. He just got out of wizard school. Okay, so you put him in the adventure. What I would do is have everyone make their characters so you know what they look like and everything. Oh, real quick rewind. One of the other awesome things about this, and this is the only regret I have about our campaign, is it does something that's super fucking cool that was a rule in older editions of D&D, that if this isn't a house rule, I might actually just write it up, which were 0th level characters.
Oh, yeah.
So in this, you start off not as like James the Fighter or James the Wizard that got out of the wizard school, but you start off as James the Villager who got jacked by pirates, and you have I can't remember how many hit points, but it's not many, and you have 1 weapon proficiency, and you roll your stats, and depending on how harsh your DM is, maybe he'll make you roll in order. Maybe you get to pick with a certain class in mind, but you don't have a class, so you're kind of just. And it's
Joe Schmo.
What I really like about this, and it's a kind of a very old school approach, but I love it because it lets you find that character, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you put your stats in with fighter in mind, but you found yourself stealthing around and, knifing pirates, and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm rolling rogue. Something like that, where the character develops more organically. So, not to skip back, but that's a big element of this module.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons that I was so pumped about it. And I think that if you can, it's worth working to rescue this module,
Yeah.
So what I would say is you have everyone roll their characters, do their character descriptions to you, and maybe just have one session where you meet up beforehand and everyone makes characters and you just have some pizza and watch a movie or whatever. And then you have everyone's individual adventure where you take the most generic background of them all and say, okay, we're just going to run the straight module as it is. But, and it's not too hard to tweak down the difficulties or add other survivors as NPCs that you can have help them. But what I would do is have the shipwreck. Before the shipwreck, you're on the ship and you describe the other players. Ship crashes, and then you wash ashore alone, and then maybe you jump in or bump into some other NPCs that survived, and they can help you if you need help with the fighting, and then they'll die throughout the adventure, which also helps as a DM. If you can wipe out some NPCs that the player's been kind of bonding with for the last hour or two, that also sends that message of like, okay, he means business, especially with like 0th level, you're going to be on your toes anyways.
One orc is going to wreck
Yeah.
us.
So, and you don't have to kill a player to do it.
So I like that. Basically, kind of replaying the same module, but from different angles, different players. You could do this either if you're doing individual solo Adventure Zero games, or if you
It
do
sounds
this,
like that's what he wants to do. He wants to do something similar to what you suggested in the original.
for the
Perdiem.
first per diem. Well, one idea would be, okay, so their ship has wrecked. It's gone. It's washed away. You know, you're not sailing that thing out of there. So perhaps there's another ship on the other side of the island. Maybe they catch sight of some sails or something like that. I haven't read over.
Yeah,
the
I think
whole
that's
thing,
part of the module.
Well, so the basic goal is to get off the island before it's vaporized by.
Yeah,
this
you
guy.
discover that the goddess is angry. Once you do that, it's like, oh shit, okay, I gotta figure out how to get out of here and maybe steal an orc boat or whatever it is.
Okay, so you see this boat over there, but in order to sail a boat, you kind of like I was mentioning before, you need different people that can do different things.
So that's the end point, is you get to that boat and you see some other survivors hurriedly preparing it. I like it.
I was thinking, what you do is you take however many players you have. Say you have 5, 6 players. You make 5 or 6 pieces of paper on each one. You write navigator. You write, captain, bosun. All the gunner's mate. All these different ranks on a pirate ship. So if they were captured by pirates, they were most likely nautical, perhaps from another ship. They'd probably have some kind of sailing training. So there's 0 level. They aren't very good at.
Yeah, but they have a profession.
You have a profession, and that's your profession, and it's integral to sailing a ship.
Well, even if it's just on a fishing trawler.
Exactly. You have some kind of nautical skill, which is an extra skill. It's not going to affect whether you're a fighter or druid or whatever later. It's just an added skill you have.
Well, that's also a cool bonus, right?
Yeah.
The players will be, and most players wouldn't be super proud of having, I have proficiency in seagoing vehicles.
Yeah,
whatever, I got it from my background. But if you add that as, no, this was something I earned through this cool adventure that I started with.
Yeah, I helped navigate the previous ship before it was sacked by these pirates.
Yeah.
Then, whether you do it all as a party at once or solo adventures, the idea is to get each one of those players to that orc ship or captured ship or whatever that functional ship is on the other side of the island, all together to sail it together. And I think that would be kind of neat if it was random. You draw it and you're like, and you don't even have to tell the other players what it is. It's like, ooh, I'm going to be the navigator. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the ship, so say you play 5 different games on the same island, and you all, they all end when you get to that ship. And then when you get there, everyone climbs on board. They're like, oh, we got to get out of here. What can you do? He's like, I'm a navigator. It's like, oh, yes, we have a navigator.
And that's when your main campaign picks up.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, we can sail out of here. You do some nautical battles, and you kind of let them use their proficiencies, and maybe make them, now you're level 1, you level up, and then it's like, oh, these orcs are catching up to us, and the gunner's like, I got this, bam, and starts blowing them away, and then the navigator does his thing. That could be pretty cool.
I wouldn't put them in individual parts of like.
It's a lot more work.
I mean, I wouldn't have them in like they're on this island, they're on this island, stitch them together. I'd rather keep them in one place where they could see. Oh, you see a survivor running up that way, and that could have totally been one of the other player characters. So then when they all get together, start them off like, okay, like you said, culminate at the ship or something like that, and they're like, okay, so now everyone's in the room. They're like, okay, great. So I was at the ship. Well, I was at the ship too, and this guy was here. And then be like, okay, describe each other. So then they can all understand. Oh, hey, you all met each other that way. Now get on the fucking boat and get out.
Yeah, and you can actually. What's cool about doing it that way that I'm actually really liking this is, as you play successive games, by the time you get to your 3rd or 4th one, you'll have all these little cool tidbits that you can like drop those like little bombs where you see like a guy running on the beach. But you can have specific things they did, right?
Yeah.
Like in the distance on the tower, you see an orc guard get his throat slit and thrown over the side, and you're like, okay, whatever. But that's one of the other players doing something memorable from the previous game. You're like, okay. And then when you get to the ship, you're like, you think it's that dude from, and then everybody kind of relates their stories. I really like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you can just take every activity that the first person starts the whole chain off. So you're like, okay, they did all this, and then, like you said, the next person sees that person doing something that the other one did.
Yeah.
And then you just intertwine them together. I think it's a great way to do zero like episode where everyone's there, everyone has a cause to get off the island, and then everyone has something that they need to be able to get off the island within each other when finding themselves to that point.
By the way, Tess just tweeted back, and she said that the photo of our cover and John made her night. So
Awesome.
very cool. Thanks again, John, for
Yeah.
getting the.
He's
I
posing
want
with
to
all
call
the
it
stuff
Loot Crate,
lately.
but it's not Loot Crate. What is it?
Yeah, it's a Nerd Block. It's in Canada, and if you ever want to check them out, it's a little bit more than Loot Crate, but you get to pick the kind of pack you like. So if you want to do a classic
cool.
pack, pick classic. If you want video game stuff, they'll do things that are more video game, horror, like a bunch of different genres.
That's
so
cool. Yeah, Loot Crate's just one thing, just a
Loot
subscription,
Crates, they
right?
pick
Yeah.
something, and then
Not to
they-
knock Loot Crate. Loot Crate's cool. I hear
Yeah.
people do reviews of it all the time. But.
Yeah, but this one's a little more tailored. It comes from Canada, so it's all good.
Canada
Yeah.
E. All right, well, we're going to jump into our alignment discussion that
All
we've been
right,
doing.
I'm excited
Yeah,
for this.
alignment discussion.
Because we're narrowing down. There's some good ones in what's left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last week it was all right. It was all right. Lawful, neutral. It was just meh.
Yeah, RoboCop,
How dare
Judge
you.
Dredd,
It's fucking
and
Judge
Terminator.
Dredd.
Yeah, Judge Dredd, RoboCop, Terminator. Like,
Watch your mouth.
That's an awesome
Yeah.
comic book right
Like,
there.
Eh.
I'd watch that fucking movie.
Yeah.
You going to tell me you wouldn't watch that?
So next alignment is that's
Chaotic
gonna be we're doing chaotic neutral.
Oh, what?
See?
And
Channeling your 13-year-old.
So we'll
Yes.
we'll,
Oh, dude,
we'll
I got one for
discuss
this.
chaotic
I got one
neutral,
for this,
and
yeah.
then we'll also jump into after we talk about what chaotic neutral is and what our views on it are. We'll jump into our debate, which is gonna be Han Solo.
Yeah, that's actually probably the best prediction I think yet.
Well,
Yeah, we'll see.
Although-
we'll see.
well,
let's
at the
do let's
beginning.
Yeah,
break it down.
I don't want to get into it, but
What is chaotic neutral?
Yeah.
I think a chaotic neutral character is one that does not abide by anyone else's thoughts of who they should be or what they should do. They do not follow, the laws of man. They follow their own. They follow their own way. It's not necessarily to say that they're self-centered, although many of them are. But it's to say that I would put it this way. I think they would hold personal freedom as the ultimate goal. Having absolute freedom to do whatever they want to do. That is their goal, and not to be tied down or ruled or controlled by any person or force. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's
You guys agree with
also the alignment that most players pick to let them kind of go around killing more people
Yeah.
with a decent conscience.
well, I mean that's actually kind of an interesting thing because I think that actually brings to light one of the kind of the common misconceptions about chaotic neutral because that's certainly how I used it when I was younger. It was just chaotic neutral is what I picked when I just wanted to do whatever I felt like. And the problem therein is that if all you want to do is run around and murder people, that's evil.
That's evil. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if what you feel like is doing what you would do in GTA and just like killing dudes and taking their money and jumping on their horse and riding off and repeat, yeah, that's chaotic evil. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Because the difference, I think, is that a chaotic neutral character would kill if they had to and not have
True,
that much compunction about it, but they wouldn't be doing what, at least, I don't want to say we, but I know I was when I was 13 or whatever it was, and just rolling up chaotic neutral fighters, and we would just, it was, I don't want to say it was like GTA, because it wasn't, but I mean, it was probably the D&D equivalent. I mean, we were definitely not moral
the new
paragons by any means.
Yeah.
And what I mean to say by that is, like, an evil character might torture someone or kill someone, and so might a chaotic neutral character, but a chaotic neutral character will do it because it's what he needs to do to get his own ends, just like he might help a child or, do some other good deed because he's not doing it because it's a good deed like a paladin that's lawful good would do. He's doing it because it's what he needs to do to get from point A to point B.
He's just as likely to do good as he is evil, as long as it's
Well, you're
to fit his
walking
own
that
goals.
tightrope, right?
Yeah.
You're not jumping from one side to the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like with torture and murder, an evil character is going to be taking like glee in that, right? Like if Skeletor is torturing He-Man, he's going to be like, "Ah, this is fucking rad," you know. But if a
That's a
if
Saturday
a chaotic
night.
yeah if a chaotic neutral character is doing it, he's not like, "This is so sweet." He's trying to get his information so he can get the fuck out of there or whatever he wants to do. Same thing with like murdering. You see that with, typically like Terminator we were talking about. That's an evil act because there was that enjoyment there.
Of T2, the
Yeah,
10,000, yeah.
exactly. So yeah, from the previous alignment discussion, whereas, I don't know if the T-800 ever tortured anyone, but
No, he just
He has
killed
detailed files.
Cyberdyne systems.
but like when he
But-
needed a car, he wasn't taking pleasure in
No.
beating up
No,
those
no.
bikers.
He
He was
couldn't care
just
less.
they didn't give it to him, so he killed them and took it.
Well, that's a different alignment to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that's
no,
what-
No, but what I'm saying is there's a
Yeah.
difference between the motivation
enjoyment.
of evil and neutral, right?
Sure.
There's that pragmatism. But also there's the fact that I think that's another thing is, I can't remember what edition it was. I think it was like second edition where it kind of became popular to think that chaotic neutral meant like the only way you could do it is if you're crazy, you're an insane person.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't really buy that either because, the idea of, because when in the previous ones I've broken it down as I treat neutral as doubling down on the one that's not neutral. So in this example, it would be, okay, we're chaotic neutral, so let's treat that as chaotic, which I think works in this. But you also can't just take that as, okay, because it's also the absence of good or evil, right?
Yeah.
So it can't just be chaos for chaos' sake. You're not going to be on a mountain pass and scale the cliff just because you don't want to go on the pass because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's the fastest way. You're going to take the path because that's what you want to do. You want to get to where you're going. That's the important part, not the chaos.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always take all the alignments, lawful, chaotic, neutral. I kind of take them with the abstract, not the not like the pure definition. So like a chaotic behavior is not necessarily like, I'm jumping all over the place, acting erratic. Like, yeah, I want to go over here, and I want to go over here and get the same house. I want to go do
I don't
this.
want to climb up that cliff,
I don't
so I'm
wanna
going to
climb
gouge
up
out my
that-
eyes.
I'm gonna-
Like,
yeah.
why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly chaos.
It,
but
it is chaos, but it isn't chaos, right? It's
Yeah.
not. It's that kind of like that mindset where you're like, something's a little off about this dude. And when we'll discuss Han Solo, I mean, there'll be points where that makes a fair amount of sense and stuff like that. As far as he's just looking out for the ends, the means, for his life, what doesn't affect him. It's like, I'll lie to this one guy, and I'll lie to this one guy. The payoff the one guy just lied to, but now I have to pay this guy. It's like there's a lot more going on. It's because you just, you're always trying to stay one step ahead, but usually kind of seem out of hook.
It's hard to be chaotic neutral when you're not intelligent, because you've got to put a lot of
you
irons
play
on
lots
the
of
fire.
trouble.
Yeah, that's what, like Traynor is chaotic neutral. I'll kill goblins. I'll kill orcs. I won't kill kids. Right? It's like, but hey, if an orc or a goblin happens to be tied up, and I'm not going to let him go and say, okay, run off.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to kill him. I'm
Yeah.
going to take him out because I know for Traynor, it's like this is one less goblin I'll have to deal with later. Right?
Yeah, you're
And
talking about the greater good as
the greater
opposed to
good
the
as opposed
act.
to the act. So I'll do it because I don't have that. Traynor doesn't have that conscience, right? That like a lawful good person or someone who's is fine.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's actually something that Matt Caulfield said. Certain characters look at certain things a different way, and a lawful good paladin isn't gonna just let a goblin go or kill it while it's defenseless.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who's chaotic neutral or even chaotic good might say,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
a
it's
goblin's
dishonorable
evil,
to
so-
kill this guy,
Yeah.
but how are you going to feel if he tomorrow, it's like Spider-Man, if he runs off and kills Uncle
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben.
Exactly. So
So-
it's just it's that kind of mentality. I think that's what chaotic neutral is.
Yeah.
I just real quick, I want to reiterate what it's not, which is a license to do
Anything you
anything,
want.
flip-flop, the motivation has to be there in the right place, because if you're just gleefully running around murdering people and torturing and maiming, and then expect to just, oh, well, I'm going to go back to town and, kiss babies and stuff. That's not really how it works. It's, you don't get that free license to just do whatever just because you wrote chaotic neutral on your sheet.
Yeah.
The context has to be taken into account, and that's actually one of the tricky things, I think, for DMs, because you have to interpret that. Because at a certain point with a player who's abusing that, you're going to have to sit down and say, okay. I mean, you could have it the other way. All your character does is good deeds. Why are you chaotic neutral? This makes no sense.
Yeah. I even comment, like in the last game we had, where it was like, I think there were some alignment shifts, kind of like in approaches between certain characters, because it's like, that's not how you've been treating it before. What's the difference between now? Like anyway, people listen to the episode and tweet us, because then you'll know what we're talking about.
It's funny, I really want to know which one you're talking about.
You specifically.
Oh, really?
When we let the one hobgoblin live.
Yeah,
like,
but
'cause
you
you
guys
were-
specifically did deception on me.
No, not that one. That was earlier. I did deception on you to talk to him afterwards, but there was the other one that Brett brought in.
Wait, we let
years
multiple hobgoblins
Yeah.
out?
I don't remember that. I remember there being one. I would not have allowed
I
that.
don't think I did
No,
that much.
You did.
Huh. I'll have to listen to the recording, because
You'll know what
Yeah,
I'm
I'm so
talking
confused.
Yeah.
All right, well,
about. I don't want to say much because I don't want to spoil much for everything for people
okay.
listening to
No,
them.
that's fair. That's fair.
So I don't want to talk about things that people haven't had a chance to listen, but alignment shifts and things have also
Yeah.
kind of come up in this.
Well, yeah, the DM's got to keep his eyes open, because it's not just one way. It's not just to punish players when they do bad things. It's just you're kind of looking at what's your character's guiding philosophy, and if he doesn't back it up, I think the better way than to scold him for not playing his character right is, okay, your character is growing, and like we've seen, in our previous examples, characters in movies, like let's go back to Breaking Bad, you've obviously had a change of heart and your character's principles have changed. That happens. People do that.
Yeah.
So,
I start to see,
he's enjoying the good in life. He's kissing babies. He's helping old ladies across the street, and it makes him feel good. So now you're chaotic good. Congrats.
I need to make a fucking alignment chart of Breaking Bad that's just Walter White in every different spot for different seasons.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's just a
pretty
different
much
season
could,
each
yeah.
time.
Yeah, that'd be
All right.
awesome.
But-
Well, Han Solo, what do you guys think? Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
I think when they first meet him, for sure.
Yeah.
That's an easy, yeah.
I think he grows.
I
by
would
the
agree
end
with
of the
that. I was
movie.
going to say, because at the end
But,
I would
yeah,
disagree
for
with
the most
that.
part,
He's the ultimate rebel, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
I mean, Rebel. And I mean, I think that he also had that kind of vibe in American Graffiti, and that just kind of carried over.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
mean, Ford's
it's-
character.
Yeah, he's just this rebellious, crazy dude with
Yeah.
his sweet car.
His
and-
dude-
I mean, Indiana Jones.
no,
is
he had
almost
this
similar
Chevy
too.
in that.
Oh, that's right. He had the.
Sorry?
Indiana Jones is similar too in a lot of ways. I wouldn't say he's
I think
chaotic.
he's probably good, but yeah,
Yeah, I'd
it's a
give him
similar.
chaotic,
Yeah.
I won't give him lawful
He's a bit of
anything.
No, but it's that same rebellious.
Yeah.
Exactly, and so A New Hope, Han Solo, for sure.
I think-
chaotic neutral. I'll give that every day.
Alignment shift when he comes back. I
Yes,
think.
when he comes
Exactly,
back.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
To
when he,
what? Chaotic good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
then he just
Yeah.
stays there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much.
I
it.
completely agree with
Yeah,
that.
he never shifts. I
Holy
mean,
shit, we figured that one out pretty fast.
Well, it's not. I mean, that
Until
one.
the Force Awakens.
No, he's still.
No, I'm just
And
saying.
he's just chaotic.
Actually, I think he shifted back because he fucking
Chaotic
left his
noob.
wife and
No.
chaotic evil.
Oh yeah, leaving your
Chaotic
wife does
dead.
not equal.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
I'm just gonna cut it out.
Yeah, please cut that out.
I was
Yeah.
not impressed with his judgment in that movie.
Actually,
Well-
but it's funny. So you're talking about alignment shift, and he's actually a good example. I'm kind of glad that he was the one that we rolled to talk about because yeah, he certainly starts as chaotic.
Dude, he shot
neutral.
Greedo under the table.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, that's so savage.
Whoa, 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 whoa! No, you're right.
Yeah, I was about to say, get out.
Yeah,
But
but
that literally illustrated his character.
is
right?
there a
Yeah.
more dishonorable way to kill someone?
Yeah.
Well, shit,
I
it's
mean, at
the-
least you're looking at him, I guess.
It's you or me. I'm taking you the fuck out because I think I can talk my way out of this.
But you're already in the hole with a fucking loan
Exactly.
shark.
But you feel like you can talk your way out of it.
Yeah.
Like, if the adventure starts and there's bounty hunters coming after you because you didn't pay off your loan shark, you're probably chaotic neutral.
yeah. Telltale
then-
sign.
Yeah, and then when he comes back, he's like, shots open. He shifts to chaotic good, and he just
Yeah.
stays there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Which is fine. Like,
Yeah, well,
that's
exactly. Look, his pimp and the rebellious nature stays throughout all those
Oh, yeah.
movies, especially like I mean, a lot of people talk about him shooting first. That totally cemented his character, but I felt the other half that cemented his character was in Empire Strikes Back. When, for me, this is for me, when they're on Cloud City, Lando's like, I've made a deal where everybody's going to drink Colt 45s, and the Empire's not going to do anything. And then the door opens, and Darth Vader's there. And, you know, like, I'll say if I saw Darth Vader on the end of a table, that was it. I'd have nothing. I would, like brown alert. That's all it had. But no, what did he do? He pulled out his pistol and he took pop shots because it was like, if I'm going to go, I'm going to try to take this motherfucker out first. I'm going to do something good. I'm going to do this.
And that was the reaction to, pure evil, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, fuck this. Pew, pew, pew. And then, like, Darth Vader did his pimp shit. But that was a ballsy, like, not just heroic move, but it was just like,
Without thinking.
without thinking, this is it. This is what I got. And that's exactly like, I was like,
DL-44.
works every time.
And it's perfect for a chaotic character. He's not going to worry about the
Exactly.
rules of engagement.
Yeah,
he's
he's
like, I'm just going to try to shoot him in the face right
You're
now.
not supposed to shoot in dining rooms did not factor in.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put it like this.
Maybe I can catch him by surprise.
Growing up, my mom always taught me, you got to wait for them to throw the first punch. Then you're justified. I think a chaotic neutral person will throw the first punch
Yeah.
just to end whatever's going to, happen first.
Yeah.
And so, there's, lawful, you might wait for him. I wait for him to strike me.
He does not care about justification.
Just
Yeah.
there's no justifications, just result.
A chaotic neutral character has justification within themselves, as opposed to a lawful character is seeking justification from others.
Exactly.
Like a chaotic neutral character would punch first because he knows he's justified. He's like, yeah, you're gonna like do this or that. He doesn't care what other people think. He's just gonna pop you in the jaw.
Well, I'm excited to hear your guys' choices and what you guys came up with. I will say I enjoy listening to you guys talk about yours a lot more than me even putting anything out there. But I do have one, and I want to throw out the name just to see if any one of you came up with it. And if so, I'll let you guys talk about it. Tyler Durden
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
It's been so long since I watched that.
from Fight Club.
Yeah,
For those
yeah.
who might not know.
Oh,
I-
I
yeah.
thought it was the senator.
Is there a senator named
No,
Tyler?
I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm like, what?
They got you all.
Well,
Yeah. So that's an interesting one. I'd have a hard time placing him in any other real category, but it kind of goes against my general thought of what a chaotic neutral character is. But that kind of makes sense.
Well, you can't say he's not disciplined, right? Because he's organized this whole group of people, and but at the same time, the very nature of it is a chaotic movement. They're
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean, I might have missed the theme, but I'm pretty sure they were anarchists.
Yeah.
So-
well, they were trying to create a new world with that, by destroying all the credit. So he pictured a world where people are tanning their own skins and living by the sweat on their
Yeah,
backs.
he wants people to live vivaciously and grab life by the horns and not sit in cubicles all day, which is a very chaotic sentiment. So I think I think the chaos is a no-brainer. So at that point, we just need to figure out, is he neutral, good, or evil?
The only argument I could put up against Kelly, I'm not really arguing, but I'm saying he did have 10 rules.
Yeah, what?
He had 10 rules.
10
What were the
rules.
first 2 rules?
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
Don't talk about Fight Club, right?
Well, and that's
and he lived
but
by
those rules served his purposes, right?
That's true.
It's not that he
they were
did
not
it because
a
he
governing
loves
body.
rules. He did it because it was necessary for the survival of what he was doing.
Yeah. Huh.
in the same way that
It's
not
a really good way to try and stretch it out of chaotic, but I don't think it's enough to pull it out.
No, I would say he firmly lives in chaotic. I wouldn't give him chaotic good or neutral.
No.
I would give him chaotic evil.
His intentions, though, are for the good of what he thinks he's doing, though.
Yeah, but at the expense of people's lives.
Yeah, and that's
true.
where the
That's
difference
true.
is. And at first I was thinking of the acid scene where he's burning his hand, but even that was,
Didn't it
he
freeze
was
someone?
justifying it of, I'm helping you have this. It's the catalyst for this kind of shift of consciousness you're gonna have. But then I think of when he's beating the shit out of that blonde dude, and there was no reason for it. He wasn't,
Just to destroy something beautiful.
yeah, exactly. And so.
Yeah.
And
That's
maybe
true.
it's maybe he's
that
one.
one's kind of hard to defend.
Maybe he's
That's-
one who shifts, but I gotta say, well, it's the
No,
thing
I
is, though,
think
it's a little
he-
bit more calculated than a chaotic evil. Maybe not.
No, I don't think so. It's like there's calculation there, but how he goes about it is in such a oddball way. It's just like he knows what the start is and he knows what he wants his end result to be, but I think how he gets there is completely different, especially since, spoiler, it's actually two people, not one.
Yeah.
He actually does everything he can not to kill people, though. Remember,
Yeah.
he cleared out all the buildings of all the people. He said no
That's
one's going to
true.
die. And
That is
remember
true.
when Robert Paulson died, he was like, this was a human being. This was a living man. And you killed him. You're running around with masks like idiots. I mean, granted, it was the Jack character. But regardless, you said he's willing to kill people, but he didn't kill
So
people.
Are you treating both characters as one, or I'm
That's-
thinking just
I'm
like
t-
Brad
Just
Pitt
the
here?
Brad Pitt?
Yeah, because
But you
that's what
can't.
I'm.
But even Brad Pitt, Tyler Durden, who did he kill?
Not really anyone I can think of.
Yeah, because
But
he didn't kill anyone.
but,
in the
okay.
movie.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't read the book.
So
Oh, on stage. Ooh.
no, but here's okay.
That's fair. I mean,
I think it's fair, but the only argument is like, who's to say whose stream of conscious was there at the time? Was the Durden or was it the?
Well, either
Ed Norton.
okay.
yeah. I don't think
Numerous
you can.
It's
I-
Jack and Tyler Durden. Both of them don't want to actually kill people.
Yeah, but one's way would definitely do it, right? Like creating soap bombs and doing all that stuff would. So who's to say whose conscious was in control necessarily at that time?
I think it was the risk, right? I mean,
Well, I don't think the movie places whose conscience makes
No,
the
it
decisions,
doesn't.
so
I don't know
we
about the
almost
book
can't
either.
use that as a factor. We almost have to take the character as a
I think
whole.
chaotic neutral's fair for that character,
I'll take chaotic neutral simply for the fact that Tyler Durden himself isn't going to try to kill someone. Like he's doing everything he can to destroy these buildings, to destroy the credit with the soap bombs. Bombs are meant to destroy the building, not to destroy people. The resulting chaos undoubtedly will end in lost lives, but he's not doing it himself, and he's justifying it for the greater good of mankind. But he doesn't want to kill people. I don't
Yeah,
think
for
he
me-
actually wants
for
to
me,
kill
it
people.
kinda
He
comes-
thinks he's freeing everybody.
for
is
me,
what
it
boils
kind of
down to.
comes down to
Oh.
that acid scene because he's doing it he's not taking glee in the causing of pain. He's taking pleasure in knowing that he's helping this person have
Reach
this
rock bottom.
mental shift
Yeah.
to become more like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of almost teeters in between the two.
We're arguing one half of two personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
a
almost
little weird.
diametrically opposed personalities. Even though they comb together as one, but at the time, it's like I don't want to do this, so I could influence it. I can see definitely chaotic. I can see chaotic neutral. Definitely not in the good sense.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's arguing that.
Yeah, but
Before Mike derailed us,
No, that was not a derail. That was perfect conversation. I actually thought for sure, Brett. I thought you were gonna.
Actually,
pick
I have
Tyler
a
Durden.
different one in mind. I hope no
But
one steals it.
yeah, why don't you guys tell me yours?
better not steal my fucking one.
why don't
You
you
can go first.
All right, I'm gonna go.
I'll
Brett,
go
go.
last, as
right.
usual.
I'm hard pressed to think of someone that truly falls more into chaotic neutral than Captain Jack Sparrow.
He was the
Yeah,
other
that
one
was
on my
that was the
favorite.
first one I thought of.
Yeah, I mean, literally the whole time, his goal is to just be free, and he struggles with it because there's times where he's where people are like, oh, there's goodness within him, and then he proves them wrong, but then he proves them right, and then he proves them wrong, and it goes back and forth. And he spends just as much time in the movies doing things to help the bad guys as he does doing things to help the good guys, and yet everyone likes him because he's Brad Pitt, or
Well,
not
also
Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp.
That freedom is his like driving force, right?
Yeah.
Like the Black Pearl it's a physical symbol of that. I mean, he says as much, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That is freedom.
Yeah,
So,
he
yeah,
says
I-
everything except for literally, I'm chaotic neutral.
Pretty much.
It's just like, I'm chaotic neutral.
Yeah, he's not big on laws.
No, definitely. I mean, no one can argue that. But you know, like you're saying, sure. I mean, he's killed people in the movies, but he wasn't taking joy from it, and he wasn't trying to kill people, but he's defending himself or doing things to further his own cause. Or
Well, he wasn't like killing people as part of his plot to
yeah,
conquer the world or do some
Yeah,
other
I-
evil deed. He just wanted to get his fucking ship.
yeah.
I think Captain Jack Sparrow is definitely chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
And never shifts from that. Like he'll have his good moments, but again, they all benefit him.
He starts to teeter towards chaotic good, I think, in
Yeah.
the third and fourth ones. And I think that's because they wanted him to be more relatable to the audience. They wanted the audiences to care for him
Yeah,
more.
3 and 4 doesn't count.
Yeah, when you're talking about 3 and 4
I like
movies,
3,
it's Jesus
4.
Christ.
But anyway, so yeah, but he was just fun to watch because you didn't know what he was going to do next. But like I was mentioning earlier, it takes an intelligent person to be truly chaotic neutral because you've got to be able to keep your, well, maybe it doesn't require it, but it certainly helps. Like you're not going to survive a really long time being chaotic neutral without some form of intelligence or forward thought, at
Of
least.
course.
You know, knowing, yeah, okay, I just stabbed this guy, but knowing what repercussions are going to come next. You know, if you aren't thinking about that, you're going to get in trouble real fast.
Sure. John, what did you have?
So I picked a person that I know no one here will know. So that way you can't argue it. But
Google.
yeah, you feel free to Google him. So I'm gonna say the character's name is Avon, and he's from Blake 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. That sounds super chaotic neutral.
Dude, that's perfect. Okay, next.
See, there you go. Problem solved. I mean, okay. I'll give real quick backstory. Any of you hardcore
When
Blake
was
7
made?
fans out there, it's okay. So pretty much it was created by Terry Nation. Terry Nation was the guy who created the dialects for Doctor Who, created the show Blake 7. Blake 7 is about a bunch of resistant fighters in space who are fighting the Federation. One of the characters they have on the ship is Avon, who is this scheming, conniving, looks out for himself character. He helps Blake, but it's to his end goal is to see the eradication of the Federation, so he could kind of do what he wants.
Oh wait, isn't he a child of the colonies and possesses a genius-like intelligence?
No. He eventually does, but later on he's... Yeah, so he's like this really weird...
I know this show.
He's like this really weird, like, dude who's...
He looks weird.
Who, one of my favorite things was he was on a ship, like Blake 7 it was a ship, that was a ship show, and one of them, they were on a shuttle and they were flying up, and he's going, can I see?
Oh, that guy looks fucking
Yeah,
weird.
Exactly.
I thought this was an
chaotic.
anime.
No, it's a TV show was on the BBC a long time ago. Anyway, he's on a ship.
One of those.
Can I finish, please?
Sorry.
I'm trying to tell you about Avon. Damn it!
Does it have that British camera that looks like a daytime
dude.
soap?
And Dutch
Yeah.
Dutch tilt and the bad panels and everything.
God
but
damn.
I loved it. I loved it. Anyway, Avon was on a ship. I don't remember the character he was with, but they're flying and they're like, it's really slow, and they just picked up like the mass of a black hole. So they had like this thing, and they needed it to power their main ship or something. And they're like, sorry, sir, the ship is too heavy. We won't be able to break atmosphere. We need to lose at least this many pounds. And he immediately looks over to the other crewmate and is like, how much does he weigh? Like, he's just going to toss his ass out. Because he was like, I need to get this to the main
pragmatic.
ship, right? But he's like, and I'll throw you out to do it. They figure out what to do. You know, so he
You
doesn't
don't have some other cargo?
Yeah, you don't have anything
we have
else.
some crates, literally right there, man.
No, those have my
Elon,
nutter
come
butter.
on.
Those have my nutter butters. I'm not getting rid of those. So it was just one of those things that it struck me as a kid growing up watching this. So that's like that's really my pick for chaotic neutral.
Well, I had one sort of like John's first one, which was Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, I still haven't seen that show.
I don't know how much
Been
you've
meaning
seen,
Why
John.
do you
so I
not
don't
watch
know.
any good television?
I know.
just
You're
don't
like,
watch
I only
television.
watch crappy shows. No, you got to watch Game of Thrones and you got to watch Vikings.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know.
That's
I
it.
mean,
will.
I don't like. There's like a crazy ice demon undead dude being slain with a magic sword. I don't even know how. Like, there's dragons flying around toasting people.
Yeah, I know. I know I need to watch it.
Face palming, right? Literally. All right, so I'm tangenting. How far have you seen into it, John? Because if everybody hasn't seen it, I don't want to be like spoiling everything for you guys.
Episode 4, I think I'm on right now.
Okay, well,
For
I mean,
the first season?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
Cool.
So I mean, well, even that early, you can see there's definitely chaos, right? He does not want, he's accused of, not following our traditions, not respecting our laws, and it's true. He, if the rules don't suit him, he doesn't follow them. And that's pretty much his character. I mean, I could see some people disagreeing because later in the series he dips into some evil territory. I would argue that kind of motivation angle again because, again, you can do things that would be perceived as evil, but if you're doing it, even not enjoying it, just knowing you have to do this.
I don't know. There's a lot of greed-based stuff going on there.
I mean, it's not. That's the thing, though. Is it's not necessarily greed. It's this philosophy, and it's very much a cultural thing of establishing that renown and growing your legend so it lives on forever and all that good stuff. But the other one that I brought up, or that I wanted to bring up, was Mad Mardigan
Oh yeah,
from Willow, who is very Han Solo-like.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a knight who couldn't hang with the rules, so he's not a knight anymore, and you're introduced to him he's in a crow's cage.
does
And-
him falling in love change his alignment? Did he change by the end? Was he more? He was probably more chaotic good by the end. It's kind of
Probably.
the Han Solo type thing.
Yeah, a
I
little
don't
bit.
love her. She kicked me in the face.
Yeah, but I mean, I would almost argue that love doesn't really change it so much as it just changes his motivation. But
I think it inspired him to try to do better.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, Eric says it perfectly. He says, I follow Galador and you follow nobody.
Yeah.
That's you don't have a code. You just do whatever you want. And then he proves him right because as soon as he gets let out, he takes this baby that he's supposed to be taking care of and then runs off to a bar.
Yeah.
And again, even there, he can't follow the rules because he's like banging some dude's wife and has to dress up as a woman to disguise himself so he doesn't get his ass kicked.
If I had a
and
penny
it's
for
just-
every time I've done that.
You're right, and it's
$42.
and it's similar to Ragnar
That's a
Lothbrok. It's
lot.
also this he's prone to excess. He's first place he goes is a bar. It's pretty typical chaotic neutral behavior.
Feeds a baby black root.
He does. Well,
Yeah.
it puts hair on his chest.
Yeah, I see that. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, excellent swordsman. Has no code of honor that I can speak. God, I gotta watch the movie again. I haven't watched it in forever.
It's a good fucking movie.
So Tyler Durden, Mad Mardigan, Captain Jack Sparrow, and Han
But
Solo
it's so
all walk
funny,
into
too.
a bar. That'd be kind of perfect.
They would, but it's funny because just growing up, I played almost always chaotic neutral, and my favorite characters
Or those-
historically have always been like Han Solo, Mad
Mad
Mardigan, fucking Jane Cobb. Easily my favorite character on that show.
I'm playing Tyler Durden in our next D&D game. No, I'm kidding. Everyone
John-
rolled their eyes.
John and I
I don't know
just
if the
looked at each
listeners
other.
could hear everyone's eyes just rolling. Does that?
Ew, my eyes do not sound like that.
Yeah, that sounds
I have
gross.
really good hearing. I could hear your eyes
Fucking
rolling.
Daredevil over there.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, you guys, that's it for tonight. We'll do more Reddit questions next time. We'll find out when Mr. Baker, the writer of Lost Mines of Phandelver, would like to come on, and we'll do an episode about writing campaign and story elements. And until then, make sure to check us out on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can reach us on Twitter at Orc-Chop Express. You can find us on iTunes, and make sure to give us a rating if you can. I know this is a lot of social media outlets, but they're all there and available. And now there's even Google Play. Woo! You can find us on there as well.
Yeah, we're just Hail. It's not Hail of Thorns. It's Hail of social media.
Hail of
Just
social
boom,
media.
everywhere.
And if you want to find all that social media in one place, check out the orcchopexpress.com.
Our social media links shall block out the sun. then we shall tweet in the shade.
I was going to say that. I was like, I'm not going to perpetuate this.
Good night.